everyone. Welcome back to the English Power Hour, where we dive into tips, tricks, and strategies to help you master your English skills in everyday situations. I'm Will, your host, and today we have a special episode focused on job interviews, specifically for a sales position. Whether you're looking to land your first sales job or you're an experienced seller aiming for a new opportunity, today's episode is for you. Joining us is Lisa, a career coach with years of experience helping candidates succeed in interviews. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks, Will. I'm excited to be here and share some insights on how to ace that sales interview.
We're glad to have you. Let's dive right in. Job interviews can be pretty nerve-wracking, especially if English isn't your first language. What's the first piece of advice you'd give to someone preparing for a sales interview in English?
The first thing I'd say is to prepare thoroughly. Preparation is key, especially in a sales role where communication is everything. Start by researching the company you're interviewing with. Understand their products, their market, and their competitors. This shows that you're serious about the role and that you've done your homework. It also gives you the background knowledge you need to tailor your answers to the company's specific needs.
Absolutely. And how about the actual language part? Many of our listeners might feel confident in everyday English, but interviews can be more challenging.
That's a great point. In an interview, you want to be clear, concise, and professional. I recommend practicing common interview questions and answers out loud. Record yourself if possible, and listen back to spot areas for improvement. This helps with both fluency and confidence. Also, remember to use sales-specific vocabulary. For example, talk about closing deals, customer retention, and upselling, instead of just saying, "I sold products."
Right, using industry-specific terms can make a big difference. Could you give us an example of how to structure an answer using this kind of vocabulary?
Sure. Let's take a common interview question like, "Can you tell us about a time you successfully closed a sale?" Instead of just saying, "I convinced a customer to buy a product," you could say, "I identified the customer's needs through active listening, tailored my pitch to highlight how our product addressed their specific pain points, and followed up with personalized emails that ultimately led to closing the deal." This kind of response shows your sales acumen and gives the interviewer a clear picture of your skills.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. And it also touches on another important aspect, storytelling. How can candidates use storytelling in an interview to stand out?
Storytelling is a fantastic tool in interviews, especially for sales positions. When you share a story, you're not just stating facts. You're engaging the interviewer and making your experiences memorable. Start with the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Describe the situation you were in, the task you needed to accomplish, the actions you took, and the results you achieved. For example, if you're asked about a challenging situation, you could outline how you turned a difficult customer into a loyal one through perseverance and personalized service.
The STAR method is such a great framework. It keeps your answers structured and impactful. Now let's talk about the technical part of sales. How important is it to discuss metrics in an interview?
Metrics are incredibly important in sales interviews because they provide concrete evidence of your success. Whenever possible, quantify your achievements. Instead of saying, "I increased sales," say, "I increased sales by 20% in the first quarter." This gives your achievements more weight and shows that you understand the importance of results. Employers want to see that you can deliver on their bottom line.
That makes sense. But what if someone doesn't have direct sales experience, or maybe they're transitioning from another field? How can they effectively communicate their potential in a sales role?
That's a common scenario, and it's definitely possible to make a strong case for yourself even without direct sales experience. Focus on transferable skills like communication, negotiation, and problem solving. For instance, if you've worked in customer service, you likely have experience handling objections and ensuring customer satisfaction, both of which are crucial in sales. Draw parallels between your past roles and the sales role you're applying for. Highlight how your skills can add value to the company.
I love that approach. It's about showing how your experience can be relevant to the role, even if it's not a direct match. Now, interviews aren't just about answering questions. You often have a chance to ask the interviewer questions too. What should candidates ask at the end of a sales interview?
Asking insightful questions at the end of an interview is crucial. It shows that you're engaged and seriously considering how you would fit into the company. Some good questions to ask in a sales interview might be, what are the biggest challenges the sales team is currently facing? This shows that you're thinking about how you can contribute to overcoming those challenges. What are the key metrics for success in this role? This question demonstrates that you're results-oriented and eager to meet the company's goals. How does the company support its sales team in achieving their targets? This question can give you insight into the resources and support available to you. Asking questions like these can also help you determine if the role and company are the right fit for you.
Those are excellent questions, Lisa. They really help turn the interview into a two-way conversation rather than just a Q&A session. Now, let's talk a bit about nonverbal communication. How important is body language in an interview?
Body language is extremely important, especially in a sales role where first impressions and client interactions are key. You want to come across as confident, engaged, and approachable. Sit up straight, make eye contact, and smile. These small actions can make a big difference in how you're perceived. Also, be mindful of your hand gestures. Use them to emphasize points, but don't overdo it. It's about finding that balance where you appear natural and confident.
Great points. And what about handling nerves? It's normal to feel anxious before and during an interview. Do you have any tips for managing that?
Nerves are definitely normal, and the key is to manage them so they don't affect your performance. One technique I recommend is deep breathing. Take a few deep breaths before you walk into the interview room to calm your nerves. Another tip is to visualize success. Picture yourself confidently answering questions and having a great interaction with the interviewer. This positive visualization can help set the tone for the interview.
That's really helpful. Staying calm and positive can definitely make a difference. Now let's pivot a bit to something that's becoming more common: online interviews. With so many interviews happening over video calls now, what should candidates keep in mind?
Online interviews have their own set of challenges, but with some preparation, you can shine just as brightly as in person. First, test your technology. Make sure your internet connection is stable, your camera and microphone work well, and your background is professional. Dress as you would for an in-person interview, and make sure the lighting is good so the interviewer can see you clearly. During the interview, remember to look at the camera, not the screen, to mimic eye contact. And finally, be mindful of your body language, just like in an in-person interview.
That's fantastic advice. With online interviews, those small details really matter. Now, before we wrap up, do you have any final tips or advice for our listeners who are preparing for a sales job interview?
My final piece of advice would be to practice, practice, practice. The more you rehearse your answers, the more natural they will sound during the actual interview. You can even do mock interviews with a friend or use an online tool. And remember, confidence is key. Believe in your skills and your ability to succeed in the role. If you've prepared well, it will show, and that will make a strong impression on the interviewer.
Perfect, Lisa. Thank you so much for all these valuable insights. I'm sure our listeners will find this episode incredibly helpful as they prepare for their interviews.
It was my pleasure, Will. I hope everyone feels a bit more confident about their upcoming interviews.
And to all of you tuning in, thank you for joining us for another episode of English Power Hour. Remember, preparation and confidence are your best allies in any job interview. And never forget, every interview is an opportunity, not just to get a job, but to learn and grow. Stay persistent in your goals, keep your focus, and success will naturally follow. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next episode.